DHS has walked that back and said that Alex Peretti did not do any of the things that you're saying specifically. And so, though this may be an appeal to authority, but also substantiated by eyewitness testimony and video footage of the event, that any logical person would argue that the evidence provided in a report to Congress says that Alex Peretti did none of the things that you said that he did. So, yeah.
Are you able to substantiate? Are you able to pull up anything to back that up at all whatsoever?
Yeah. I'm teleporting right now, but you have your computer up. If you wouldn't mind helping the brother out in good faith, you can just put up.
You just said you wouldn't do that for me. I want to make that clear. I will do that for you.
I would do that.
What do I need to search? You just said you wouldn't pull anything up.
Yeah.
But let me be honest with you. I'm going to do that for you.
Hold on one second.
What do you need me to pull up?
Hold on 1 second. I just pulled up. 1 second.
I'll pull up anything you need me to pull up.
So here, I'm gonna pull up just because in a reasonable in the convenience of time, I'm gonna take a screenshot of an AI overview and I'm gonna put it up, and you can fact check me if you'd like, because it's just a quicker way of doing it, and I could bring you a primary source, but that's just gonna take me time to go look that up. But in the interest of time, can I just do that? And if you disagree with it, we can just go further into it, right?
Liv, go ahead. I'll put you in the big box. If I don't...
Okay. It's just we can go deeper into this. But I mean, the people that do the investigations, Department of Homeland Security.
We should have planned this out.
Oh wait, my camera's not. Oh wait, there we go. There we go. Put me in a big box. So yes, today's DHS link reports making it clear that their first preliminary investigation does not claim Alex Peretti started the incident or attacked agents. Multiple outlets summarizing DHS and CBP internal reports emphasize that he did not brandish a weapon, he did not initiate force, and earlier claims from DHS leadership contradicted by the evidence.
So, I agree with everything you just said. That's why I said I granted to you. He didn't initiate anything.
Okay, great. And so
initiating is absolutely correct. What we saw in the video is that the federal agent initiated the force when he visibly pushed a woman down to the ground.
So when it's out of his so
he didn't. Let's make this clear. He did not initiate the physical confrontation. The federal officer did. So that is correct. And he did not I never said anything about him brandishing a weapon.
Well, yeah, that's just what the reports have said.
Yeah, that they're correct. That you're not contending with anything I said, though. They're not saying, hey, he didn't impede, he didn't resist, and he didn't violate 18 USC 111. They didn't make that claim at all whatsoever. So your best bet is to say, hey, this is how he didn't meet the qualifications for 18 USC 111. Because again, nothing in USC 111 says anything about initiating the confrontation. Mm-hmm. Nothing in this code does it say the person needs to initiate the physical contact. The code doesn't say anything about initiation.
Yeah, and that's the whole point, right? Because
that's not the whole point.
Well, it is, right? Because again, if you're going to cite the law, here, let me teach you something really quick, right? The law is simply where philosophy and morality intersect, and you have something of the spirit of the law, right? Right, and so, oh shit, don't hit that car. And so when you have the spirit of the law, what is the intent of the laws that you're arguing for, right?
Yeah,
and so
the intent of this law would be. Let me know when I can.
And so the intent of that law would be to hold perpetrators accountable, not victims. And if Alex Peretti didn't have any control over that situation, he never engaged in or started the conflict with the officers. He would, by definition, be the victim, right? And to try to hold him accountable would, again, this is the ending of the argument that you're making, would just be victim blaming. And I don't see any merit in doing that because you're just blaming the victim at this point. That's not an argument that I want to engage in.
Well, humor us, Liv, because you're in a debate. So you should probably engage. And if you're able to go ahead and substantiate your claim, it would be very easy for you to go ahead and engage with the fact that I'm quote unquote victim blaming. And I'll grant you that I'm victim blaming right now. I don't have a problem with you calling anything I'm doing some sort of name. I really just want to hear how he didn't forcibly resist, oppose, or impede a federal officer. I really want you to demonstrate that. Because I pulled up the video and played it in slow motion and went ahead and tried to demonstrate my claim. And it didn't really sound like you wanted to contend with that at all.
He wasn't in the, I never wanted to. I don't think any merit is in your argument whatsoever. So there's really like, it's like engaging with someone that is lesser than, right? Like that argument that you just made is so piss poor that it's no reason for me to engage into it. Now, hold on, listen, I'm just being very honest with you, right? There's no reason for me to engage in that, right? Because what you're doing is by definition victim blaming, and you even just agreed that it is in fact victim blaming. If somebody
I
doesn't
don't
have
agree.
power,
I'm granting you that.
if
So you can make a
somebody doesn't have, if you grant that, that means you concede to that point. And so if somebody doesn't have power or control of a situation, right, how can they determine the outcome? If you can't show that he had a plan, if you can't show that he had power or control, right, those things that happened were a byproduct of the aggression of the officer. If the officer had never aggressed upon U.S. citizens, then those U.S. citizens would have never been maced, which again is the first assault using chemical weaponry from the United States government on U.S. citizens. I think that's an abomination. Also, the taking of a life is something that's of ill repute, right? Especially when the individual never engaged with officers; they were a bystander recording. So I don't think that was a reason for them to lose their lives. And the scuffle was initiated by the officers, meaning that it was out of both of their controls. This is just another case of excessive use of force.
I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate that you're absolutely wrong, and here's why. A week before his unaliving, what just happened? I didn't know this was touchscreen. A week before his unaliving, Preddy had a rib broken when a group of federal officers tackled what he deemed a family of illegal immigrants. So in this moment, he was not carrying. And he said that, quote unquote, he said, hey, I feared for my life in this incident when I physically confronted federal agents. And it was at this moment that DHS released a memo declaring that he was actually a person of interest because not only did he assault federal officers before this incident, but it resulted in him breaking a rib, and he did receive medication that is aligned with people who usually break a rib. So we have the receipts that he broke a rib and received medication for it.
Was he charged?
Absolutely not. But he received medication for a broken rib. Yeah, he assaulted a federal officer and resulted in him.
He assaulted appreciate you, my nigga. Yes, sir. Hey, yeah, so there was no crime.
Well, Liv, respectfully, I'm not finished demonstrating that he had a plan.
Oh, my bad. I got digressed because somebody came up to my car. I thought I was half listening. Go ahead.
Yeah, so this would be his first instance with the federal agents. And this is exactly why I'm saying the left is actively participating in an insurrection, because the same rhetoric that you're using is the same rhetoric that Preddy used to justify impeding officers who were chasing after a family. So when you say I'm not allowed to bring up court and I'm not allowed to bring up law, when you impede an investigation and you go in and try to confront federal officers and it results in you breaking a rib, and in that instance, you weren't carrying. So you go back to impede officers again. And in this instance, you were carrying and you resist against non-lethal. Let me finish really quick.
Clarifying question. I know. Clarifying question. If he was impeding officers then, why didn't they arrest him and charge him?
And again, this is why I said the local law enforcement failed, because this is a point that everyone made before you got here. It's actually not ICE's job to arrest U.S. citizens when they're unruly and protesting and impeding
Well,
federal agents.
that's
It is
not
actually you
necessarily
got to let
true.
me answer
ICE,
your question, sir,
but
because I'm
that's
actually
not
here
true.
in good faith.
That's not true. ICE
Okay,
can
so
detain
ICE
U.S.
can
citizens and
arrest
pass.
U.S. Hold
Yes,
up, let me ask a question because you're interrupting my answer.
sure.
So ICE can arrest U.S. citizens for impeding against their investigations.
Well, they can detain. I mean, arrest and detain. Like, what are we talking about?
So you keep saying, why wasn't he charged? He was
Yeah.
fighting ICE agents. They're not allowed to arrest and charge him.
Okay, great. But they can. Could they detain him until and hold him accountable for impeding the investigation?
They can detain him. He was detained.
Okay,
That's
great.
exactly when he
And
sustained the rib injury.
is it is
Can
impeding
I
an
answer the
investigation?
question, or let me know
Is
when I can
impeding an
respond?
investigation a crime? Is impeding an investigation a crime?
Yes, impeding an investigation is a federal crime, and the only people that
Okay,
are
great.
allowed to arrest people for committing crime
Okay, great.
are the ones that are local law enforcement, which are the police, and they've been told not to respond. And this is why they weren't there for any of
Okay.
these protests. And this is exactly why my original claim was, hey, the left is
I mean, to be
actively.
fair, well, I mean, to be fair though, I mean, it's Trump appointed judges that are letting these people go, right? That even when these protesters are being arrested by ICE and detained, that Trump appointed judges are actually letting them go in Minnesota, right? And so I just find that if we're going to have this honest conversation in good faith, right, that if he had committed a crime and ICE found him for committing a crime, which we see happening all over America, ICE is arresting individuals, not arresting, I'm not going to use that language, but detaining people for law enforcement to be arrested, right? I don't see why in this moment he wasn't arrested for that. And if he wasn't arrested for that crime, presumably that the officers in the judicial system found that he did nothing wrong, right? So the fact that he chose to be, and the other point I'm going to make is that the fact that he chooses to carry a firearm and protect himself against the government, I think more so is an indictment on the government and less of an indictment on him. Why is it that, and this is my question for you, why is it that U.S. citizens don't feel safe by with the same people that are supposed to protect us?
That's a much better question. The only reason why people don't feel safe is because of people like you. The only people that don't feel safe are the people that believe they
That's an
need this.
ad hominem. Come on now, Young King.
Well, you're on the
That's an
left.
ad
Well, this is my
hominem.
original claim, though, and it's
That's an
actually
ad hominem. That's not good. That's a sign that you're losing the debate, man.
okay.
Don't do that.
Are you on the?
Pick it up,
Well,
champ.
people on
You
the
can do
left.
it.
Well, people on the left have claimed that the ICE is a Gestapo group and that they're operating under a fascist regime that is authoritarian and dictator-like, and they're closest to Yazis. So when he hears rhetoric like that, he's what I like to call radicalized. And this is exactly why I'm saying law enforcement has dropped the ball tremendously here. And that's the exact reason why their political leader has turned his tune immensely. And that's exactly why the left is currently in his office protesting him immensely. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up that video footage because they're in his office saying that he's a traitor because he activated law enforcement to make sure these protests go peacefully.
I think it's very. Can y'all hear me? Because I'm about to go through a bad area. I think that it's very telling that people are making these arguments and trying to substantiate victim blaming. Um, I think that the indictment in this situation shouldn't be on the actions of Alex Preddy. I think that the indictment should be on the actions of ICE. There have been several cases mounted against ICE going against DHS policy. The reason I say that is because in the most recent report given to Congress today is that those ICE officers operated outside of DHS policy. And so I know that this may be an appeal to authority, but uh, I would argue that the contradiction that we see in the argument that you're making is the same argument that Christy Nome made, and her own department, which she's a head of, came out and contradicted the statements that she made, right? And so now it gives me a pause to say, you know what? Maybe in both situations, it wasn't Alex Preddy that was in the wrong. Maybe Alex Preddy in this situation was the hero. And if Alex Preddy was the hero in these situations, and DHS and CBP are contradicting their initial statements, but maybe it's not the left that is committing insurrection. Possibly, could be the right. It becomes the question: is the Trump administration looking to impede elections? There is evidence right now that the Trump administration is asking Minnesota for their voter rolls, that they are militarizing blue cities across America with ICE and federal governments in order to intimidate people's First Amendment rights. So, Young King, I am actually in a bad area. I am going to listen because I know you're going to go off and explain this. I just need to run in here and grab some raps. Okay? So I'm going to
Not
listen.
because
I'm going
that's
to be
in
on
bad
mute.
faith because you won't hear anything I'm saying. So I'm going to wait till you're able to come back and respond.
No, I can hear you. No, I can hear you. I'm not going to be able to talk because it's going to be loud in there.
Yeah, that's bad faith. So I'm going to wait till you're able to talk again.
It's not bad faith.
I actually have questions for you, so I'm going to need you to talk. So let me know when you're able to talk again.
Hey, just give me 2 seconds to go buy these raps.
Of course.
Be right back.
If we taking a little intermission, I just want to say I appreciate y'all pulling up. Please tap the screen, share the live out to other people so that we can all be educated on this. And then also put in the comments section how y'all think this is going, the education that you getting from this conversation / debate that's going on. Much appreciation. Also, BGB, we not letting folk up. Okay, it's a 1v1 debate. I know you can read the screen, man. We're not letting nobody up.
I will say while Liv's taking a break, I don't mind, but I will respect the rules of the live. If he wants to come up really quick, Black Spotty, you are out of your damn mind. No one in the chat read what Black Spotty just said. No one read that shit.
So I think after y'all finish up, that we can. I think the best way to do it is after y'all finish up with what y'all doing, we let everybody else kind of come up and get into it because I have plenty
Yeah.
of things that I can say on it too. For real, for real.
The one, ask it in the comments and I can read it. Because I don't want any of them to get mad and leave, please. Oh, he's back. Perfect. Never mind.
All right, y'all can hear me now?
Wait, you still got
Y'all
bars.
can hear me now?
Still got bars. Okay, you're good. You're good now.
Okay. I'm listening.
Go ahead, King.
So yeah, Liv is under the impression that for some reason, the right is the side that is actually actively participating in an insurrection, and he's under the impression that the right are the ones that are impeding investigations, and that the right is the side that is actively participating in an insurrection here. So I want to go ahead and pull up the left, and they're in the Minnesota governor's place of residence here, and this is their rhetoric. This is what they're saying to him. So this would be the left going directly against their government, and by all means, he's a leftist. Their governor is on the left. But what their governor said is, hey, I'm going to activate law enforcement so these protests can remain peaceful and unruly. And their point of contention right now is ICE needs to leave, the government needs to stop, and we need justice for all of these people. And then I ask you guys this question again. How are they affording these signs? Because if these are just protests that aren't funded, how is anybody able to get? How are they all the same sign? Who paid? Somebody paid for this. These are all the same signs. This is high quality print, high quality ink. They're not written. These are printed out and typed out. This all costs money. So somebody needs to pay for stuff like this. And again, this is the left actively in a leftist governor's office, actively saying, we want your job because you let law enforcement start participating in keeping protests peaceful. So that's what the left is saying. So right now, I'm currently demonstrating video evidence of the left going directly against their leftist government political leaders saying, we don't want you to have your job anymore because you don't want protests to be peaceful. That's what they're saying. We want the federal law enforcement out of our city. We want them out of our state. And they're telling that to their governor.
Okay, and so just with this, the Supreme Court has already ruled that those actions, though you may disagree with them, are protected under the First Amendment and freedom of speech. And so to deny those people of that ability to go against their government is an attack on the Constitution, furthering my claim that this is, in fact, an insurrection from the right. Also, that according to DHS, well, not even according to DHS, the Trump administration and DHS are preventing state investigators from investigating the crime of Alex Petty and also Nicole Good. And them impeding stopping the state from doing that is preventing transparency from the American people, compounded by the Kristi Noem, who's Secretary of DHS, Department of Homeland Security, who her own department has come out and contradicted the same statements and given a report to Congress that goes to the exact opposite of what she said. And I would argue that this clear a lie to the American people. And so if we're going to have a conversation about the left's actions that are protected under the Constitution until the Supreme Court rules differently, I don't think that's an indictment on the left. I would argue that the indictment is on the right for preventing a state investigation from state investigators from investigating the unaliving of Nicole Good as well as Alex Petty. I think that the people deserve.
Yeah, so you're not really demonstrating. You haven't really pulled anything up to prove that the right is actively going against the government at all whatsoever. That's one. Two, I'm not saying that everything these people have done is illegal. I'm just demonstrating that the only people who are going out and protesting against the government right now is the left, because you made the claim that the right is the side that is going against the government right now. The right are the ones going against the government. Are the ones. And you keep bringing up Kristi Noem, and that's interesting because I've already let you know that her statement the only statement that she had to backtrack is that he brandished a weapon, and that's completely false. He didn't initiate contact. I granted you that point, and I conceded that he pushed the woman first. Let us go ahead and harken back to the video because it's abundantly clear that he's not the one that started a physical confrontation with ICE. I've made that abundantly clear that I agree. I started the physical confrontation. All I'm saying, again, I have to make this abundantly clear, is that the left is the only reason why he's there, because he feels like he needs to defend and protect the people that ICE is attacking, and they're acting as if the ICE agents here are just going around arresting U.S. citizens. They're not. So when he does this right here, this is assaulting a federal law officer, and this is opposing a federal law officer, and this is impeding a law officer's detainment of another woman, and this is resisting non-lethal force. Would you like to contend with any of those? Did he comply? Is this complying, sir?
I would only have to go with the reports from DHS. And so, again, what we have currently is a sitting U.S. president that has deployed the U.S. military as well as federal law enforcement officers to the inside of America, the interior of America, following a 1700s law, the Alien Enemies Act, that has ICE agents and National Guard and a bunch of other agencies, boots on the ground in our communities. And people do not want law enforcement in their communities, and they are protesting against this action. And I would argue that those protests against the government have already been codified by the Supreme Court and protected under the First Amendment. You can disagree with it, but at the end of the day, the people have a right to say what they want about this government. That's not going to change. For people that want to remove this protection, for people that want to limit people's freedom of speech, that will be an indictment towards the federal government, MAGA, and Republicans in regards to fascism and silencing of the people. And un-American, and that I would argue that when we look at the actions of ICE and these federal agents, the abuse that they've caused, I believe it's somewhere around ICE is responsible for like 6 pew-pewings in Minnesota so far. It's crazy, right? Somewhere along them lines. I think it's been in several shootings of ICE, and that doesn't even account for, what is his name, Bovino, and him being demoted because of his actions using chemical agents against U.S. citizens, right? That all of these things seem to be the federal government targeting the citizens. The citizens' response, similar to Alex Peretti's response, is not something that we need to interrogate. It is what caused those responses that we need to interrogate. Because the thing that causes those responses, the fascism, the suppression of the vote, of the voice of the people, the interfering and looking to interfere with elections with a letter coming from Kristi Noem asking for voter rolls, is literally the subversion of the will of the people. And so I would argue that the people do have a voice.
And the
Cannot
people we're
silence
talking
the people.
about, let's be clear, are on the left, correct, Liv?
Well, no. I mean, Rand Paul isn't on the left.
So can we talk about the people on the left? Because that's my initial claim. That's what we're
Yeah.
debating.
Well,
The
you said,
people on, let me make
but
this
it's not.
abundantly
But
clear.
I'm sorry.
What I
Hold on
said
one second.
was that the
I'm
people on
sorry.
the
No.
left,
Listen. Because Rand Paul, you said it's just people on the left. Rand Paul is calling for independent investigation in regards to the unaliving of Alex Peretti.
yeah, that's not
And to be,
rhetoric that radicalizes anyone to go out and
yes, and
attack
so,
a
and
federal law.
again, rhetoric is what caused January 6th. Go and fight like hell, right?
Let's not
And
goalpost
that
shift.
in
Let's stick
January
right
6th,
here.
I'm not. What I'm drawing is an analogy that if you argue that J6 was people peacefully protesting, I am going to argue that the protests that you see are people protesting, and it's all protected under the First Amendment. You can disagree with it, but the people have a voice, and I don't understand why you would want to silence that voice or call it insurrection.
That's not what we're calling insurrection. No one wants to silence their voice at all. You haven't heard me say silence anyone on the left. Have you,
Sure.
Liv?
But wouldn't the actions of ICE, and as you've already agreed, the actions of ICE for a man that was recording across the street, the ICE officer aggressed upon him while he was recording. Him recording law enforcement officers, again, is protected by Supreme Court ruling.
No, it's
And
actually not. And
it
when we
is
talk about
protected. It
Supreme
is. I'm
Court
sorry, can I
ruling,
finish?
this is why I
I'm
keep
sorry, can I
bringing.
finish? I
This is why I
apologize. Can I
keep
finish?
bringing up.
I'm sorry,
This is
can I
why I
finish?
keep
I
bringing
apologize.
up
Can I finish?
USC 111.
I apologize. Can I finish? Yes, and so recording of law enforcement officers is protected under freedom of speech according to the Supreme Court.
What about impeding and opposing
Okay?
and resisting?
And so again, if the ICE
I
officer
really want
hadn't
you to contend
aggressed,
with that.
again, if the ICE officer hadn't aggressed upon him and initiated the interaction, right, which is a unreasonable use of force, as Graham v. O'Connor, or Graham v. Connor, I'm sorry, that's Supreme Court. These are Supreme Court rulings. And so these rulings, and the Supreme Court is the highest law of the land. And so if we're going to argue about whether he was legally justified or not, before the interaction, he was only recording on a public street. The ICE officer had no reason to engage with him at all. Right? Now you can make an argument for the women. I don't know. I've heard both things. I don't really. We don't have really good angles of close up of what they were saying. I haven't heard it yet. But we're talking about Alex Peretti. And he was recording. He was a lawful gun owner, right? And he was practicing his First and Second Amendment rights. And this is according to DHS. And so if that ICE officer went and impeded him, stopped him from practicing his constitutional rights, that would be ICE aggressing upon the left. And so when we're talking about insurrection, right, this would be an example, not insurrection, but fascism. This would be an example of that police state.
Yeah, okay, so you say these words, and I don't think you really understand what they mean. That's one. Two, I really want you to
Oh my
contend.
God, another ad hominem. This is how we know you're losing.
Describe a police
Stop
state.
it.
Wait, let
Describe
him
a police
respond
state,
though,
Liv.
Liv.
Describe a police state, Liv.
And I would argue that colloquially, I'm talking about more ICE officers at one point being in Minneapolis than there were police.
How is that a police state if there are no police?
Yeah, so ICE is law enforcement. And I said colloquially.
This is why I say I don't think you know what you mean when you say police state.
I know
Because you
exactly
just
what I'm saying.
let me know when I can respond.
Yes, I know exactly what I'm saying.
He needs to respond though to what you said earlier, Liv.
Yeah, and
No,
he
I
is
don't, because we
responding.
know this is
I've
clearly
been
biased
letting
and I'm in hostile territory.
Bill,
So I'm not
don't
going to be able to
gaslight.
respond. Watch.
No, okay,
No, he
go
needs
ahead.
to
No,
respond.
you know what?
That's
Y'all
how
got
this
it.
works.
Exactly.
Go.
So when he says police state, the first thing he said was there are no police. There are no local police. And this was my main point of contention. So we go down this road where he's trying his hardest to justify forcibly assaulting, resisting, opposing, and impeding a federal officer. That's all he's done so far. All he's also done is try to demonstrate that, hey, this is completely justified. And I guarantee you he's going to say he supports the decision that you need to go ahead and impede officers when they're trying to assault women and attack women. Because I granted him that. Hey, he's saying the federal officers assaulted that woman for no reason. I'll grant him that. Does that give him justification to resist, oppose, and impede federal law officers? Live?
Sorry, we're just going to disagree on this fundamentally because
He's not contending with any of my points.
Alex Preddy was practicing his constitutional rights. I don't give a shit about those women. He's the one that was popped. And he was standing as a bystander. The ICE aggressed upon the young ladies and upon him. They brought the fight, the harm to him. They aggressed upon him and his constitutional rights, his Second Amendment rights. That, for me, is the fascism. I don't think you understand. I don't think you can engage in what I'm actually articulating because you're making up straw man points that I am not making.
Correct. And I'm going to go ahead and make my closing arguments, and I'll let everyone decide who won. Honestly, my closing arguments: it is directly against federal law when you impede, forcibly resist, and impose any type of force against a federal law officer. I've demonstrated that at least 5 times in a slow motion video. I've also went ahead and demonstrated the rhetoric that the left uses that radicalizes everyone on their side. And I'd argue that if he didn't fall victim to what the left was proclaiming, that these are members of a Gestapo group that are operating under a fascist government, then he wouldn't be out there protesting at all whatsoever. And let me make it abundantly clear. Protesting is completely legal and is one of the founding principles of this nation. And you're absolutely allowed to protest. I completely agree with it. The police are absolutely allowed to make sure that these protests do not grow unruly. And he's tried to say that they are in a police state right now. But there are no police officers out in any of these videos with all of these incidents that are dropping in Minnesota because they're not in a police state. By all metrics, they're in a complete opposite of the police state. And there are no police actively out there trying to make sure these protests don't get out of hand. So that's my closing argument, because my initial claim was the left is actively radicalizing and participating in direct insurrection against the federal law agency of ICE. And that's exactly what they're doing. And he has not demonstrated at all whatsoever that Alex Preddy was not trying to directly go against the will of ICE and go against the will of the federal government and go against the will of federal officers. That's all I've tried to do.
Is that it? You sure you're done?
Your turn, Liv.
I'm sure, because last time, Bill, you tried to gaslight me.
No, I didn't. I said it was. You talk, then him, then you, then him, then you. Do you understand?
Okay. Sure.
I mean, I'm trying to be neutral, Liv.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
All right. Can I get the big screen?
Sure. 1 second. I made you big. You there?
I'm here.
Okay. T-Bone, how are we gonna do the voting?
I don't think this one should be a voting thing. Like the way that we do the voting thing should be very particular and structured, and we don't have that established just yet. So we'll have that established for the robbers and officer debate. Um, I guess you could just voice in the comment section who you think won, or we could put a poll up. But we know how that's gonna go.
We know how that's
I
going to
don't think
go.
that's fair
This
to
is a
young.
clear
Yeah, that's
leftist live with no
Yeah.
MAGA in here at all whatsoever.
No. It's not a leftist live. I'm a Republican. It's a
You can say
neutral
whatever
live.
you'd like, Bell. There are no Republicans
well, no,
in
no,
your
no.
chat. There are
No,
no
no.
If we're
Republicans
talking
in
about
this
the
live.
comment section, I would agree with you. The comment section probably got way
Yes.
more
There are
leftists in it. But if you
no
talk,
Republicans in the chat.
yeah,
I
There are no
agree. No,
Republicans
I
in here at all.
agree
there's
with.
definitely Republicans in the
Hold
chat.
on. I agree with you, Young, that yes, there's more leftists than Republicans in here, but I'm a Republican. T-Bone's a Democrat, and we're neutral. It's a neutral space, but I can't control how many Republicans come in here. Do you understand?
Yeah, I
shared it
completely
out to like
understand.
50 people.
I completely understand, Bell. Yep.
So I don't know how we're gonna decide this, T-Bone.
It's already been decided. Liv
Yes,
won.
yes.
It's a W for Liv. It's already been decided.
Again, this just happened today. You know what I'm saying? Like it's no dubs. We haven't officially started the dub count yet. We go get to that.
W Liv, great job, Liv. You really proved that the left
Well, now
is
hold
not
on,
actively
King. Don't jump the gun.
W
We don't
Liv.
know if, I don't know if he won yet. Hold on. I don't think. All right.
Okay.
W,
So
great
the
job,
first
Liv.
thing.
It's been an honor debating you, man.
Yeah.
I really appreciate the time.
Okay, but let him do his
Absolutely.
closing statement like you did. Come on.
Yeah.
Now.
So I just wanted to. I'm gonna go through a couple of things really quick. I'm gonna just pull up because I debate this shit for real. So I'm just gonna pull up. You can't hold Alex Pretty accountable for his own unaliving because DHS and CBD's own reports show that he did not initiate the threat, he did not brandish the weapon, and he wasn't, and he was subjected to escalating force, meaning that the agency's accountability claims are assuming that the power and choices are assuming power and choices that he never had. Okay, so let's just dismantle that victim blaming bullshit. He didn't have control. He didn't have power over that situation at all whatsoever. The other part that I want to point out is the subversion of a police state. A police state, and I had to look this up and I make sure I was giving accurate information. Big W's to my supporters all the way. I see you down there. A police state is a government where exercises extreme and often arbitrary control over civil society and liberties. For example, violating an individual's First Amendment rights that have been upheld by the Supreme Court to record law enforcement, as well as the Second Amendment right to bear arms in a conceal and carry state, right? The characteristics of this police state is a suppression of rights, a secret police or security forces like ICE, right? Control over information. You saw Kristi Noem give out horrible or just like flat out lie to the American people, and her own department, DHS, contradicted her reports. And when they had to give to Congress today, and concentrated power and authority as if ICE has absolute authority and moves through our streets with no accountability. Right. The other point I want to make out now is it's very important when we're talking about the left, an idea of insurrection and fascism, right? People's response to an oppressive government is not them being insurrectionists. People have a right, a constitutional right, to, according to the Supreme Court, to critique in whatever form or fashion that they choose, whether they can yell at officers, say what they want, fuck you, you fascist bitches, right? And all of that, right? As long as they don't impede on an investigation, which Alex Pretty wasn't, right? As long as they don't interfere in any ongoing investigations, which they weren't. Those ladies had their phones out yelling at ICE officers, which has been upheld several times by the Supreme Court. The fact that when we're talking about insurrection, people have to be usurping democracy. And what we see is that Kristi Noem's letter asks specifically for voter rolls in Minnesota, right? Voter rolls, right? Usurping the state's 10th Amendment. They're trampling all over the Constitution. They're militarizing blue cities across America to sway elections and intimidate people, putting more ICE officers, law enforcement, DHS, I think and I'm I don't know, to be honest, how many different agencies Trump has taken over, whether it's ATF, DHS agents, CBP, the FBI. All of these organizations are going and specifically targeting blue cities: Chicago, New York, Washington, D.C., L.A., you know what I mean? And it seems that they're specifically targeting, places like Minneapolis, where if it was in fact, and this is the part of fascism, if it was in fact about undocumented migrants, there are only 130,000 in Minnesota that we know. It seems that their efforts would be better off in red states like Florida and Texas, who have millions of undocumented migrants, if it really was about immigration. I would argue that ICE is Donald Trump's form of slave patrol that are invading blue cities and blue areas in order to intimidate people, to prevent them from voting in the 2026 election. That the left aren't the ones being insurrectionists or fascists. It's the left trying to protect and save democracy in America.
All set? Everybody? T-Bone? Oh, shit.
Yeah. So two things. Number one is when we start letting people up, I'm just asking y'all to keep it chill because y'all know the TikTok algorithm been going crazy with handing out violations. So for the purposes of like keeping the live up, just make sure that you keep shit sweet. It's not trying to police what y'all say. It's just trying to keep the live up.
Okay.
And then whatever you want to do from there. Because I'm not going to, if I comment on this, it's going to be bad. Like I'm hand out L's left and
It's
right.
not okay.
So.
I would just like to remind everyone that it's not about your feelings. I'm voting on your feelings or who agrees with how you think or your political views. This is a debate, and the person who wins is the one who actually, presented some facts, actually made a good argument. Whether you believe in the argument that they made or you're against it, I really wish that everyone would be genuine enough to give the person that won the credit for actually having a good debate. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's not about your political opinion, right? I don't know who we letting up.
It doesn't matter who you let up. They're all going to be on the
Whoever
list.
y'all
Just
want
let them
to.
all.
I mean, who you think won, Bell? Who you think won?
Who do you think I think won?
Oh no, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, well, I would if I had to put a vote to it, I would put for King.
You think King won?
Yeah, I actually used USC 111, 18 USC 111. I actually slowed down the video. I actually tried to use videos to demonstrate my claim of the left actively protesting their governor. So, when that is going up against AI, I'm not sure which one is an actual fact or not. Which one? You tell me, right?
But Young, I think that the left protesting a Democratic governor is just them exercising their First Amendment right. But I'm more so curious as to what you presented that.
Wait, T-Bone, you didn't
Wait.
answer. T-Bone, who do you think won?
Wait, that doesn't do
hold
anything
on.
for me.
T-Bone.
That's not an insurrection.
T-Bone.
Holding
I
your
didn't say that was an
politician
insurrection.
accountable.
I was just demonstrating that they're
about it.
actively
Like, I don't
protesting
care.
the government.
Like if King won, this is a conservative vibe. Put a
Oh,
poll up.
hold on, though.
Well, no, if King won, then
Hold
I'm
on.
really worried about the level of education in this country, quite frankly.
Hold on. We're not talking about
based
the point.
off of facts.
Hey, you guys, do you
won.
hear me?
I mean,
You're not understanding what I'm saying. When I say that, we can't vote on who you believe politically. You got to be a neutral.
Well, no, Belle, it's Belle.
I'm
not here. Wait, Belle, it's
so,
not.
T-Bone, wait, hold on though.
Where are you saying that?
Who are you saying won?
I think Liv, once King kind of conceded that he wasn't the person who initiated, and then Liv talked about those individuals protesting from the fact that their rights were being violated, and then went to the First and the Fourth Amendment that were being violated. One thing that I would have did personally, well, I won't go to that, but I feel like once he conceded that point, it kind of messed everything else up for King. That's just my personal opinion.
You know, I did grant.
Young,
I did not disagree.
Okay,
I
so conceding and granting, if you're conceding,
I said
if
I
you're
granted
saying,
so we can move forward with the conversation.
so then hold on just a second. Hold on just a second, TG. So are you saying, King, are you saying that you don't believe that what Liv said was factual about him initiating it?
I pulled the video up of him initiating physical contact with that officer. I've said that multiple times.
So
I just
so
said,
then
let
you
me
believe
finish.
that he
Let me
still
finish. I said I will grant you that so we can move forward, because I played the video and I broke it down for like 2 minutes and he wasn't saying anything at all. And everybody in the chat was saying you're saying the same thing over and over again. So I'll say whatever you're about to say, I'll grant you that right now so we could please.
I don't need you to grant me it.
Okay, so
that's not true though, Belle. Belle, you're being completely unfair
I
here.
need you guys.
But how can you say, hold on, still, because you don't have facts.
You guys came. Okay, I'm gonna drop both of you because you guys came. We're still trying.
Don't drop me.
Okay, so give me a second then. Okay, 1 vote T-Bone, 1 vote me. Okay, y'all, it's a tie. Also.
Oh, Belle, I understand.
Belle, stop being like that, Belle.
I understand.
Listen,
bring up and bring back.
Listen,
Lotus.
I feel like both of you were not prepared enough. Okay,
Listen,
nobody was prepared.
Belle,
it should have been planned out.
Belle, it's not that you can't say that, right?
Trey,
because his arguments, because all of his arguments, and the reason that the people are in the streets. No,
they're all based on law,
right?
No, my argument. Let me be very clear here, Belle.
Liv knows exactly what I'm
saying. His arguments were based on AI.
I'm sorry. One second.
His arguments were based on AI.
1 second. So again, I want to explain something to the chat. I'm not biased towards Liv. Liv knows exactly what I'm doing. Liv understands me right now.
She's only going to side with Republicans. That's why she voted for Trump. She doesn't even believe in the shit that she says. She just is Republican because that's her team. Right? She does that shit like she's like it's a football
I'm
game.
a neutral host. Okay?
Yeah, listen, and I hear what you're saying, but understand where my arguments were coming from. That Alex Peretti was practicing his First Amendment right when he was recording. That is upheld by the Constitution and the Supreme Court. That Alex Peretti was carrying his firearm legally. Hold on. Listen, Alex Peretti was upholding his Second Amendment right? That when we look at the officer and when you concede to the point that Alex Peretti was aggressed upon by the officer was stomping on his constitutional rights of his First and Second Amendment rights.
We already made the points.
And so, hold on, listen, King. And now, Belle, if you disagree,
he's telling me one.
Hold on.
You know where I turned?
Now, Belle, here becomes
I turned when you said that he had absolutely no control of the situation.
Okay.
He was carrying.
Now, Belle,
the pupil left.
That is constitutional. Okay. You disagreeing with that is disagreeing with the Second Amendment.
Belle, just give it to them.
I don't disagree with that.
Give it to them.
I'm saying his weapon left his holster.
Can somebody conceal carry in Minnesota?
Yes.
And also they do not have to inform law enforcement unless asked.
Yes. And so, Belle, if he's practicing, if he's in before the officer,
all they do is bully.
I'm not bullying. What I'm explaining, and this is why you don't want the point to be explained. This is why you're stonewalling. Listen,
you're trying to change her vote.
What I'm arguing.
Let him try and explain it to me one more time. Maybe I didn't understand it, but to me, I felt like he did have a choice. He should not have reached for his weapon.
He didn't reach for his weapon. Belle, the video shows he didn't reach for his weapon. He was on the ground for 90 seconds on all fours before he was shot. Okay? The other part is that before the officers, regardless of the women, look, now notice the interrupting, right? Notice the interrupting. Do you notice?
Wait, how come he doesn't get muted? Wait, Belle, if you're really going to be neutral, how come he's not being muted? Because you wanted Liv to walk you through the point that
he's a W host. Please stop attacking her.
Yeah, because he knows.
Look, attack me. Don't attack the host. She held a great lie.
Look, she's sitting here interrupting.
She held a great lie.
It's over, is it not?
Okay,
yes,
King,
it is.
let me just have this one-on-one with Liv because I do want to understand where he's coming from.
Bell, we all have our constitutional protections.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, you have a First Amendment freedom of speech. It has been upheld by the Supreme Court that you can say whatever the fuck you want to law enforcement. They don't have a right to harm you for what you say.
No, that's not what the Supreme Court says. You can't tell law enforcement you want to unalive them. You can't say stuff like that.
But again, you can't say bomb. Listen, if you're going to be pretentious, you can't say bomb in an airport.
Yeah,
you know
you
what
can't
I'm saying?
say stuff like
if
you're
you
allowed to say
disagree,
whatever you want.
sure. Now, look, that's just an appeal to the extreme. Now, I thought we were having this conversation with Bell and King. I went on mute when you were talking.
I do want to get through this with Liv. Go ahead.
You're wasting your time, Bell. He just wants you to say
now, Bell.
Real quick, Liv, before you go, I just want to point out that I thought the whole point of this was. Yeah, but again, real quick, Bell, the problem with this, and this is why I say that we shouldn't be doing it by polls, because we're supposed to be judging based off of what they said. Now we're having conversations about the firearm. To be fair, that was not King's claim. He did not bring that up.
Thank you.
He referenced a specific law. And that's why I'm saying when we're doing this judging thing, we have to look at people's arguments that they're presenting specifically. Because if we're going based off of how you feel in that situation, then obviously if you're a Republican, you're going to be voting with King. And if you're a leftist, you're going to be voting for Liv. That's why I'm saying, like, when I bring up what his argument was and the fact that he granted and conceded to that point, that is us looking at what he presented objectively and making an assessment based off of that. We can't make an assessment based off of a claim that wasn't made.
What I'm arguing, Bell, what I'm arguing
with the lady I didn't even know.
Liv, you know very well that I'm not happy about what happened. I'm not with
Bell,
ICE
listen,
on this
I'm not saying that, Bell.
one.
What I'm saying,
but he made me.
What I'm saying is that his point that the left are insurrectionists, right, is him disagreeing with their First Amendment rights to be able to say what they want in regards to critiquing the government and critiquing law enforcement. I pointed out when he conceded to the point, like T-Bone said, when he conceded to the point that I don't know if it was ICE or CBP, whichever one I don't know which agent they was at the same time, but whichever one it was, right?
It was one of each.
So when they aggressed upon him, they violated his First and Second Amendment rights.
Granted, not concede.
Yes, it's the same thing.
Okay, so how did that violate?
Now look, man, 1 second. I'm talking to Bell. Look, man, like you doing the thing now, bruh. Like, why are you doing that? Like, look, I don't even care at this point. Look, Bell, when he conceded to that point, that goes to.
I granted.
That look, man, whatever, bro. Like you lost, bro.
Okay, I know.
When you in this argument,
say I lost so he can stop.
No, man. Look, look. All right, you got it, bro.
I got the L.
No, I want him to. I need you, King.
Liv can't even
talk. I'm being fair now because I want him to finish his sentence. I want to understand what he's saying.
It's never going to end, the Bell.
Jared.
Liv, go ahead, please.
Yes, that is the state encroaching on individuals' rights. He's making the argument that the left is doing that to the right. I'm pointing out that the right has been doing that to the left, that you can't victimize somebody for their response to a thing. Alex Preddy didn't have control or power over that situation, and he didn't have knowledge that the officers were going to unalive him. That his point is providing a victim, he's making a victim, or he's victim blaming Alex Preddy. Your point in regards to a pew-pew, one, he never brandished it. Two, he never tried to pull it out, and he never reached for it. And that's according to DHS.
I never brought up the pew-pew.
No, I'm pointing out Bell said that.
I did. He's talking to
Bell
me about
said
what
that.
I said.
Go back on mute.
So, I agree with
Bell,
you
even
that
with
it
both of those
like
points,
an ambush.
and this goes to my point, that Kristi Noem, the head of DHS, has been found to be untrustworthy, right? Because she has lied to the American people. And that a specific report given to Congress today has outlined that none of what Young King said is true. That he made the argument of Kristi Noem, and Kristi Noem was found today to be a liar with an internal investigation from DHS.
Good job, Liv. You win, man. That's a W, right, Bell? Please give it to him, please.
No, stop. Because what do you call it? For me, I switched because I was with you, Liv. up until you said, and I agree with you that it was an ambush. I don't see any justification for this last one with Alex Freddie. I don't. Genuinely, I don't. But
if you don't see that, then we'll just pause right there. If you don't see a justification for it, that would be the state using excessive force on a U.S. citizen, right?
Well, it wouldn't be the state; it would be federal because
well, I mean, when I say the state, I mean the government. When I say
yeah,
state,
so yeah, I agree with you on that.
Okay,
I don't see a justification.
All right, now understand what his claim was. Hold on, Bill. Don't make the argument for Young King. His claim is that the left and their rhetoric is with some insurrectionists are making them insurrectionists, right? If that's the case, you should see the left aggressing upon these ICE officers. You don't see police aggressing on ICE officers. You don't see protesters aggressing on ICE officers. You see ICE officers and federal agents aggressing onto the protesters. And I pointed out the what the fuck is his name that just got demoted? Bovini. I pointed that out in our debate, that he was just demoted to go back to motherfucking California because he used chemical agents on U.S. citizens. That is something I pointed out in this. So you can't sit here and say on one hand that, well, I just disagree. Like these are just the facts. And for me, we can disagree on the outcome, and that's just something that needs to be taken up in court. But we have to be able to agree on the same reality. Like, you can't look at that video and say, okay, well, I know he was pushed. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction, right? That Alex Freddie was maced, he was pushed, he was maced, and he was down on all fours with 5 or 6 different federal agents. He didn't have power in that situation. He didn't have control in that situation. And all he was doing is practicing his First and Second Amendment rights.
I understand. And like I said, I do not think that there is any justification when it comes to Alex Freddie, right? I don't think there's any justification. To me, it looked like an ambush. It looked completely out of hand, okay? But what I'm going by...
Wasn't Young King's claim that it wasn't that he... Wait a second. Bell, really quick. Wasn't Young King's claim...
This is never going to end.
Bell, wasn't Young King's claim that he pushed ICE after he was pushed?
Can you just...
And yet you're saying that there's no justification, Bell? Listen, and I get it. And Bill, I get it. But you're going to vote Republican regardless. You're going to be Republican regardless.
That's where I would...
But we have to operate in reality.
You got to let me finish, please. You got to let me finish, please. I would be biased if I voted on how I felt on the situation. When it comes to the situation, I don't like what ICE did. I am with Alex Freddie. So if I'm going to vote off of feelings and what I believe, that would make me biased. I am voting on the fact I am voting on that I think he presented a good case, and it's very hard for a Republican or a conservative to debate this right now, knowing that, hey, ICE did fuck up in this situation. Do you understand where I'm coming from?
That's his obligation, though. It doesn't matter if it's hard for him. Tough luck. He took the position.
It might not be hard for him. I'm looking at it that way.
Giving these motherfuckers.
Listen, hold on, real quick before we get to it. That's why I'm saying this conversation should be going to an after party where people are discussing the situation rather than like a vote on who you think won based off of opinion or assessing the debate. Because like I said, we don't got to
let other people up.
Can I get the big screen?
Yeah, let's just get the other people in here.
Can I get the big screen really quick?
You're supposed to give your vote to the left. I'm supposed to.
Can I get the big screen real quick, host?
It works, Bell. T-Bone disagrees with a part of my debate. What are you talking about?
Can I get the big screen really quick?
The problem with this country currently is that there's a very obvious educational gap.
Somebody do notice because she has nothing to do with this.
Oh God! Well, you want me to dog walk you on every single point you fucked up on?
Because I can happily I just want you to be quiet for like
I can help you. I can help you in ways that
somebody muted so I can make a point.
Actually left you behind educationally.
She's not a part of this. So this is an example of how I knew.
Reality.
This is an example of how I knew, Bell, that was never. It's never going to end. He's going to keep yelling at you until you say he won. Because the parameters we had in our last debate on who won would be who got the most gives. So they dropped me, and then MAGA got the most gives by about 30,000. And they still couldn't concede that Liv still couldn't concede that he lost. Take a look at Liv's numbers. He had 19K versus MAGA Naga and Grand Wizard, who had 20 plus 37, which is 57. So he lost. And I bet you the next thing he's about to say is, I never lost that debate. Watch. He can't take an L. So this is why you need to tell him he lost.
So again, So really
I don't
quickly,
think he.
at
But I
anybody,
need
one
you to
second,
understand. I don't
one
think
second.
Liv lost.
Would
I don't think
anybody,
Liv lost.
now anybody that
Even
knows
here.
Liv, if anybody that knows Liv, would I ever agree to a debate based on fucking coins?
No.
He's in such bad faith. He's
The
in such
fuck?
yo
The
Bell.
fuck? Like I
You
never
have
would
to
agree to
tell
that
him he
shit.
won. He cannot take a loss. That was his rules. They
I
gave us.
never made
that was
those
the
rules.
rules they gave us. Liv. Yo, what
Yeah,
I tell
I
you,
never agree.
they
I never
can't
made
lose,
those
Bell.
rules.
They would never lose.
Yeah,
It
now
does
listen,
not
man.
matter
Okay, that's
what
cool,
parameters
bro.
you
Like,
give.
look,
He would never
if
lose.
if you won then, win now. Put up a poll. This is a conservative live. This is fine.
Is right. I'm just a bit confused as to what points he specifically made that kind of persuaded Bell, especially considering like the example of the left leading an insurrection was left-wing people, right? We were not even fully sure if those people were left-wing, all of them, right? We don't know all of their political affiliations, showing up and critiquing their government elected official in his office, and nobody was hurt, right? Whereas like peaceful demonstrations, even if they're loud, even if they're aggressive in nature and the way that they're doing things, as long as they're not violent, it's not an insurrection. I don't think that he knows the definitions of things. He didn't know what a police state was. He didn't know who the heck Kristi Noem was up until like everybody in the comments started flaming him on it. And then to boot, he didn't even know that DHS actually had to go before Congress because Republicans were critiquing it, because he then made the exact point, oh, actually, Liv, like Republicans aren't the ones going about Republican. So wait, does that mean that people on the left have to participate in groupthink? Because it seems to me that you guys are simply engaging in a level of groupthink for your politician, and that's bizarre.
Bell, just give it to
and
them,
then on
please.
top of that, wait,
Everyone
and
in
then
here
on
is
top
on the
of that,
left.
hold on,
No
I'm
one
not
in here
done.
supports ICE.
Hold on, I'm not done.
I
This isn't
support
semantics.
ICE.
No one in here
These are all
supports
points
ICE.
But
you've
not
made.
in this situation.
You got it. We
Bell,
got to
hang
take
on,
the
Bell,
L.
hang on.
They have numbers.
He also made the claim
We
that
took the
these
L.
protesters were paid. He never substantiated said claim. That's a claim that comes from the right because they're confused on what community organizing is and what mutual aid is, right? And then he proceeded to make the claim that they had the audio. We have the audio. Where is the audio? Pray tell. Oh wait, DHS hasn't released the clearest form of audio because 2 body cams are present. Not a single one was presented to the public. The third audio would have came from Alex Peretti's phone. They never actually collaborated with the state and passed that over so that they could accurately investigate the entire thing. He only showed the video and then described it to us as if he's judge, jury, and executioner, which he does not have the right to do. I mean, this is kind of laughable that he came up here with absolutely no evidence, nothing, and was going entirely off of vibes. And then he said, well, the police should have been there. The police should have been present. Here's the issue. ICE is purposefully attacking off-duty police officers in the state of Minnesota, and in particular in the Twin Cities. How the hell do we know this? Because the police chief came out and said, hey, off-duty cops are being attacked simply for being people of color, off-duty police officers, right? And so ICE is actively going out of their way to intimidate law enforcement. And every single time law enforcement goes out of their way to speak with them and try to engage with them in a meaningful way, they are purposefully being aggressive. This is a fact that, guess what? It's actually an objective fact now, because where the hell did Bavino go? Oh, wait, Bavino actually had all of those court cases against him, including Kristi Noem, who you didn't even know is the head of DHS. That's crazy to me that you didn't even know who that was, because that lady pew-pewed her puppy. Like, what the fuck are you on? You came up here, you knew absolutely nothing, presented very little evidence, did not know the definition of basic things, and truly, you're a bizarre individual because you need to stop saying we. You're nothing but a civilian. You are not wielding any sort of tangible power.
I really didn't come up here to get personally attacked. So if you're going to allow me to go ahead and personally attack her
critiqued
back,
every single one of your
I'll
points.
stay. If I can talk shit back to her without you talking about
not with
we
that
need
beard.
to be calm and we need to calm down.
Engage with the
You feel me?
argument.
So when I start talking shit back, it's look how I'm not going to be able to respond. Now I can't respond, right? But she can talk all the shit in the world she want to talk about me.
No, you can respond, King. You can respond.
What a surprise, man.
There's one thing.
There he goes. He's doing the victim complex because he doesn't have a response.
Yo, can you stop? Like, no joke. He needs to respond now.
If this is a Republican
he muted
live,
himself.
Right, Bill? This is
it is a Republican live. And first of all, like I said, I support ICE. I don't support this, what happened to Alex Pretty. I can't seem to find...
You don't support ICE. This is ICE, Bell. You don't support this.
Wait, Bell. Stop having him run away. These were all of the points you made, yes or no, Bell?
And also, I have not given the W to anyone yet.
Wait, Bell,
I just said that right now.
Bell, be impartial.
Yo,
impartial
you can't
for
keep doing
1
that to me.
second.
You need to stop. You gotta stop. Like, it's
Bell,
not funny anymore.
Bell, can you engage? Bell, you got to be able to engage with what Lotus said. Like, if you're gonna say the argument that like you would side with King, you have to be able to reconcile the argument.
They're about to bully the shit out of you, Bell. Too.
No, I'm not.
They're
But
about
Bell,
to
what I'm
bully
asking you,
the shit out of you.
What I'm asking you, Bell, instead of saying like going back and forth with King and listening to this nigga, like listen to what Lotus said. Lotus, just go back and just pull out 2 points.
It's
Bell,
never going to end,
with the
Bell.
2 points that
everyone
Lotus
you
made.
let up, it's going to be the same thing. Bell, you're awful because you agree with King.
Lord.
That's all they're going to say. That's all they can say.
It's not. Listen.
And personally attack me. But watch when I call her a bitch, I'm wrong.
Given the W to
watch when I call her a stupid ass bitch.
Did I call you out of your name?
Don't know shit. A fat white radical lesbian. She's gonna continue to call me names.
Wait.
It's not
He's
gonna
crashing
go
out.
away.
He's crashing out.
Lotus, is it safe to say that I stand corrected when before this argument, quote unquote,
and now we're letting dummies up
before it even started?
Real Zach is a dummy.
You're projecting before it even started.
She's an idiot. So we're just letting
Wait,
anyone
Bell. You said.
What did I say before it even started?
You're an idiot, Real Zach.
Real. Can you give me?
That's why you're
Real.
never
Give me
gonna be
1
on the
second.
debate.
Sorry,
you're not
Real.
smart enough to do anything besides personally attack
you. Lost.
Bell.
You lost.
Azizam, Habibti, 1 second.
Let's move on. Let's move forward.
I'm here. I'm listening.
We gave the W to Liv.
I can't hear you over him. Listen,
you
Bell. You said all of
lost.
Bell. Ignore the fact that he just took like one little snarky comment I made. I never called him out of his name, mind you. Those were all of his talking points. Were they not?
He lost.
He got recorded.
Were those not his talking points?
He got mad when he lost, Lotus, and when you elaborated to him effectively and efficiently without cursing, cause you did it nicer than I would have, because I came back up here to say that do I not stand corrected. Before he wanted to even debate with Liv, I told him you were going to get cooked before you came up here. You had no points. That shit was insane. And Bell, I'm going to be honest, I love you and you know this, but the fact that you're agreeing with him made me feel like you're just trying to keep the momentum in the room going, because Liv gave y'all grace and he been here way longer than what the fuck he should have. That man been lost the argument before Liv even spoke. Right? Like, let's just keep that shit. I mean, he's talking about giving Liv the W. No, sir. You lost fair and square.
I'm not giving the W to anybody.
Well, I am.
I said I support ICE, but I don't support what happened with Alex Pretty. I've said it so many times. It's okay to support ICE and say that they were in the wrong.
Right. And again, let's be clear.
Bell, just put up a poll. Like, I don't understand why we not doing that.
Okay, can someone T-Bone? Where's the poll?
I don't got mod on this one. Somebody else got to do it.
Okay, so smiley face Liv because it's on the left, crying face Young because it's on the right.
I told y'all. What did I say before he came? What did I say before y'all started? I told y'all.
Everybody vote.
He's a troll.
The crazy thing is that I'm not over here going, I'm on the left. I have to agree with everything that somebody on the left says. I mean, even as he elaborated in his video, people on the left are very.
Y'all were a little biased.
No, people on the left are.
Girl.
Bell. The guy Bell. Hang on. The Republican the Republican gubernatorial candidate, right, for the state of Minnesota. The same guy who is a lawyer, who actively sought counsel for Jonathan Ross, the guy who unalived Renee Good, somehow decided, after this one, I'm dropping out. There's no way that they can try to play this. And so nothing he presented, actually, especially after everything I said, there's no way in hell that you think what he presented counters anything that Liv said. Unless you're willingly just going, okay, we're going to have him on the panel, make them feel good so that they could probably come in here and debate. And the problem is we should have been shut up these people ages ago. Take away their right to vote and put them in a re-education camp until they earn it back.
Yeah, we know that's what Belle was doing. She was trying to make them feel included. Good job, DEI. You got it, Belle.
No, this is the consequences of No Child Left Behind.
He did do a good job. I think he did a great job. I also think that Luke did a great job. Why are you cutting me off in the middle of my sentence?
I'm sorry, go ahead, Belle.
I think they both did a great job, but I do think that they were both not prepared. This should have been done,
Yeah,
no, I don't
disagree. I'm definitely gonna have to.
It was
spontaneous. Belle, you tweaking.
It was
Stop
spontaneous.
it, Belle.
One second.
Belle, I've been around you so long. I know what you were doing.
Now, Liv,
You're biased, Belle.
Belle, I was absolutely prepared for that debate. I'm prepared for every debate. because these are just because to be honest with you, I only debate my intellectual
Will,
equals.
the
What I
vote
did,
says you won.
what I
The
did.
vote says you won.
Okay, what I did was allow him to speak and provide his claim, right? And this is the problem when people become disingenuous. They come in and they look for that argumentative piece. They look for that sea lining. They look to try to critique every small point and every detail. But if you let someone be able to talk, either you're going to give a cohesive argument, premise one, premise two, an inference rule, and a conclusion, right? Or you're going to be able to rebut somebody's argument holistically. And for me, that you can disagree with the points that I made, but you would be disagreeing with the Constitution. And a lot of people right now that are on the right fundamentally disagree with the Constitution. This is just a fact. And I would argue, that is the problem that we have when we're having these conversations, because people don't want the Constitution. They don't want freedom of speech. They don't want those constitutional amendments. They're willing to sacrifice them for Donald Trump. Now, Bill, you said that you support ICE.
I do.
Okay, why?
Because I do think it's important to deport illegal immigrants.
Why?
Because they shouldn't be here.
But I thought you were the party of fiscal responsibility.
What does that have to do with anything? If they're here illegally, if they've if they come here illegally, they apply for asylum, while they're in the process, I don't consider them illegal, right? If they lose that asylum and they don't leave when they get the order to leave, they are illegal.
Ooh.
So
okay. But again, I'm arguing about fiscal responsibility, right? That's what Doge was about. That's what Trump ran on, making things affordable, cutting government spending. Is this not what Trump ran on? Is this not why one of the main reasons why Republicans support him? Migrants, Bill, generate about $520 billion in taxes.
That's not a fact. That's not a proven fact.
Undocumented migrants generate around $90 billion. Okay?
Yes, but
Hold
the
on,
thing
Bill.
is,
I'm about to give you the numbers. And
I don't
want
need
you
the
to
numbers.
make this make sense for
it's
a party
96 million, 96 billion. It says that we make 96 billion from them. But again, I know the numbers, Liv. Those are
It don't go to the federal government.
Bill,
it is not.
Bill, you have
to.
But again, this is the problem, right? Is that you're jumping in front of an argument before I make it.
Go ahead.
I told you migrants, people that are here legally, generate around $526 billion in taxes.
That's great. I'm not against
it. It only benefits the state.
In addition to that, one second.
Other people up here that want to talk.
One second. I don't know why these fucking black male conservatives come up here and they do these things. It's weird.
Right.
This is just fucking weird, bro. Like, finish. And I let
stop spreading lies.
Oh my God, shut up! There's other people up here that want to talk.
I don't
you
want
could just
already,
fact check me, bro.
Okay. So Liv, go ahead and but you're talking about those
making a total of 600 of nearly like 600 and some odd $billion in taxpayer revenue. Okay. And that taxpayer revenue is dependent on immigration, right?
Yes.
So what I argue, Bill, is that the right would rather spend $170 billion, roughly $42 billion a year, to remove $100 billion in taxpayer revenue, right, from undocumented migrants.
Yes.
Which also,
hold on, don't talk yet. He's not done.
Which also is going to impact immigration, because the United States now is on a human rights watch list, and that we have fewer people. We have fewer people coming into this country seeking immigration than we did in prior years. Now, that money goes directly into Social Security, Medicaid, so on and so forth, things that American people need to survive. So on the right, what they would rather do is spend roughly, if you break down the 170 billion, if you break that down over 4 years, that's $42 billion a year to remove $100 billion in undocumented migrants. Just stay there. That's a net loss of $140 billion, right? Okay. Whereas we could give amnesty, right, to these individuals, as well as pay $25 billion and solve a hunger crisis in America that would generate $170 billion. And if we were just to take away the investment of that 25 billion, you have a net positive of $140 billion. Meaning that on the right, you guys would rather cost the American taxpayer roughly $140 billion, whereas on the left, we would rather grant amnesty and give food to everyone in this country and generate $140 billion. Now, the question I have for you, Belle, is would you rather
wasn't that
make...
the question?
Now, my question, this is my question. Now knowing that information, would you rather make $140 billion or spend $140 billion?
Neither.
I got a question.
Okay, great. Now you're agnostic. Cool.
Hold on. I would like to explain. It's my turn now. It's my turn. Don't cut me off, please. Okay? You said that migrants made we make 500 and something billion dollars off of migrants, which is legal immigrants. As for the illegals, that is not the number that you are giving. It is not a fact. It literally tells you that there is no way to even calculate that accurately, and you know that. How are you going to calculate accurately when these people have no W-2s? They're mainly paying cash. You don't know what the fuck the government is making off of them. Nobody can make that claim.
Yes, we can. They have ITIN numbers.
Then they're not illegal, Liv. I'm talking
being
about
undocumented.
Illegals.
Yeah, so the problem is that the right doesn't know what illegal means. They use this term and they believe that they're illegal means. No. By the way you're speaking, you don't. Because by you saying illegal, what you're meaning, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, people that snuck into this country and are paying taxes. Right?
No, people that snuck into this country
that we don't know exist. Okay, now if that is the case, and that's cool. If that is the case, we wouldn't know if they were here or not. But when you're talking about the law,
states don't pay federal tax.
Okay, why is it that I'm listening, bro? I waited for her to finish, and now you're
don't pay federal tax.
Now listen,
then you know this.
Now listen. Now on the other hand,
be quiet.
On the other hand, that when we're talking about migrants being undocumented, you're talking about undocumented migrants, meaning that their paperwork has ran out, meaning that they already had ITIN numbers, that they came over here on student visas, that they came over here on work visas, that they came over here seeking asylum, and either those asylum claims were denied, right? But in order to have a job, in order to work, and when you calculate how much money is made just on these ITIN numbers, it's nearly $90 billion. We understand that. That's coming from the IRS. You'll do state and local taxes and taxes paid to the federal government. We know these people because they have been documented.
My bad.
A lot of times when we have these conversations, Republicans think that illegal means that they're unknown, that we don't know who these people are.
But
the reality is we do know who they are, and we know that their paperwork has run out. This is why Republicans know that on average over the past 30 years, there have been between 10 and 15 million undocumented people in this country at any given time. How would we know that? And those same people we want to get out of this country. Again, what we need to address is how is it that a party of fiscal responsibility wants to spend $140 billion instead of make $140 billion? I thought it was about decreasing the deficit and paying off the debt.
I have a question.
Go ahead. What's your question?
So when we speak about the word illegal, right? And I mean, I hear what y'all saying about it as far as illegal immigrants, right? And I'm cool with all that. Now, me personally, I do not support Trump for the simple reason that he was involved in this Epstein shit, which we all can agree that was some pedo activity, right? So when we speak about illegal, right, what the term itself coins, is it not illegal for them to have not released those files within a deadline due to the Epstein Transparency Act and the DOJ still going beyond the 30-day deadline to only release partial pieces of the fucking files? Like, why are we supporting this man, Bill?
Supporting Donald Trump?
Yeah, you said you support Trump. And I'm
I
wondering
said
why.
I support ICE, and yes, I support every American president.
So somebody,
And I voted for him 3 times. Right now, I have stated, and everyone's been on my ass because for years actually, I do call that him out, and I've been pissed off with him since February. I'm not on I'm not MAGA. I don't condone everything that he does.
but do you think it's okay for little kids to go through certain things like sexual and consensual things when it comes to grown adults?
Hell, what kind of spin
Absolutely
is
not.
this?
So can we all agree that that's some illegal shit?
Yes, absolutely. If he did that, she should be fucking locked up
What?
and
Why?
and unalived.
But you would support him because he has certain views on certain things,
What are you talking about?
like as far as immigration.
Yes, I support my party when it comes to immigration. Republicans, I feel like Republicans are more on supporting ICE and getting rid of illegal immigrants, not just the criminals, but all illegal immigrants.
Wait, that's not true. That's not true, though. The Republican Party loves immigration.
So let me correct
First
Liv
of
on
all, you're
something.
really muffled.
Let me
Who's
correct Liv
talking?
on something real quick.
Oh,
According to the
peace.
U.S.
Go
budget
ahead.
office,